Hi, folks. It's Yvette from Lupus Wellness Coach. I'm Yvette LaBoy, Lupus Wellness Coach, and I was asked to do a live, and I haven't done one in a while because I have been busy. And give me a second. I need to tag someone. If I could find her. Okay. Hi. Oh, good. Hi, Sonia. How are you? Well, I wanted to talk a little bit today about how traumas that happen in our lives can affect our body on a physical level. Hi, Frankie. Hi, Sonia. And I have someone that I'm gonna put on. I'm gonna invite her on to speak as well. But I wanted to say a little bit about it, and I feel there is a huge connection between our mind, body, emotional state, our consciousness, and a connection to traumas and illness, and how that can manifest in our body. I know with me, with the lupus, when I was suffering from it, I noticed that when I started doing the work and I started digging deeper on how that connection is. So, hey Francis, how are you, sweetheart? So there is a young woman by the name of Sonia Colon who she's amazing. She has an organization called Survivor I Am, and I wanted to put her on because she shares a lot about this, and she has a non-for-profit organization called Survivor I Am, and I wanted her to get on and just speak a little bit about the connection of that. And she's on, and this is the first time I'm doing this, so folks, excuse me. Hi, love. Hi, Sonia. Alrighty, how do I? Okay, I'm sending you. I'm Francis, and her name is Sonia Colon, and like I said, just amazing that she does. Hey, Sonia, what's up?
That's awesome. Hi, I love that. Amazing, the power of technology if you use it in the positive, right?
Absolutely.
That's so funny. All right, I'm stepping out.
I was telling people about your organization, Survivor I Am. It's a non-for-profit, and tell them a little bit about what you do.
Sure. So Survivor I Am right now basically is in its like baby steps. It's a little over a year old. And what I do, excuse me, is I bring to the community an awareness of adverse childhood experiences. And what adverse childhood experiences are those traumatic events that we as adults in our childhood compartmentalize, because that's what children do. When we say that children are resilient, it's actually a misnomer and a misconception, because we're not really resilient. We just we color and we do what we need to do so that we can move through it in that moment, but we haven't let it go. And you never really truly let it go. It's more about learning how to live with that and knowing that it's a part of you and learning to move through it. And the way that we do that, I believe, is through connection, like connecting with people like yourself that acknowledge that our past greatly impacts our present as well as our future. And it's not to say that we're going to stay stuck in the past, but it's just to acknowledge that it definitely had imprints on our brain development as a child. So these traumatic experiences consist of things that you've either personally endured or witnessed, such as physical, emotional, abuse and neglect. So verbal, physical, sexual abuse, which is my personal plight and my personal passion, because I feel that the majority of us, as high as 1 in 4 girls to 1 in 6 boys, are sexually abused before the age of 18. It's not just here in the United States, it's prevalent in every corner of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And also domestic violence, in incarceration, mental illness that exists in one or more parental figures. These are the people that are raising you. So who they are is who inherently we become. Yes, we do have choice, but if you don't have someone in your life backing that up so to speak, if you don't have that one person to build you up into that resilience, you got to go it alone, and that's not easy for a child. So I believe that the majority of society is, yes, just a bunch of like traumatized children that still haven't addressed the roots of their stress.
I agree with you. And I also believe that it affects a person sometimes on a deeper level where it comes out as illness. Because
Oh
I
yeah.
know with me, with the lupus, once I started doing the work and I dug in deep, I had to deal with certain childhood things that I saw growing up as a child that affected me. And the way that I thought, the way that I felt, that inner chatter that I used to have with myself, that I felt also contribute to developing an autoimmune condition in my body. So when I was doing the healing, it wasn't just the physical and the nutrition. I also had to work on my mindset, on the emotional, the consciousness, and the spiritual to dig deeper, to heal that on a deeper level, which most people are afraid to do or don't want to go there. How do you feel about that? What is your opinion on that?
Well, I feel that, the reason why we don't want to do the work is because it's easier to cope maladaptively. So it's easier to just stay in the behavior that you've conformed to. So whatever that is, and it manifests in so many different ways that, when people start to really think about it, they're like, oh, wait, I do that, and it's hard for them to face that. So whether, you take refuge in shopping, whether you take refuge in gossiping, whether you take refuge in continuing to allow yourself to conform to staying in a bad relationship. These are addictive personality traits that arise out of the need to feel safe in that moment. But it's only a temporary fix, it's not a solution. The solution is to do the deep work, but it takes a lifetime of work. And for most people, we don't want to do that. Even myself, there's days I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to do that work. It's hard. It's easier to, you know what? I'm going to grab that sugary snack again, right? But then that sugary snack, like literally, it feeds and you get that dopamine rush. But for how long? For how long do you get that?
It can lead to addiction problems as well with some people, right?
I mean, I'm talking about, yeah, like when we talk about, it's Friday night, I'm going to go out with my girlfriends and, I'm going to have that drinky drink. But then the one drink leads to two, leads to three, and then you don't know how to stop. And then it becomes an issue and a problem that you think is actually not a problem. And I'm just saying that because yesterday made 18 months of sobriety myself. And
Congratulations,
thank you.
girl.
Thank
Very
you.
proud
Thank
of you.
And what's crazy is that, I mean, for the most part, I didn't think I had a problem. I totally didn't think I had I thought I had it under control. I thought that my drinking every once in a while and drinking to feel at ease and relaxed, drinking to feel comfort in my own skin, to have this conversation with Yvette, right? Because many people didn't even know that even as I was going in my healing journey and even as I was um, talking the talk, I was still taking it back so that I could feel at ease in my own skin.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful thing when you start to realize that you are enough just the way you are. Regardless of those past traumas that you've been through, you are enough. And you don't have to remain your experience. But that's hard, because look, you don't forget. Sometimes you might forget, like I don't remember, and I thank God that I don't remember verbatim the situations that I was in, as a child that I survived. But you don't forget the feeling. You don't forget the feeling that it made you feel, and it made you feel a lot of shame, a lot of guilt of like just being that victim, but you have to realize that it's not your fault, and it's just an experience that you went through, and you don't have to remain your experience. But yeah, it's not easy. And in regards to what you said, as far as like it manifesting in chronic illnesses, that's fact. That's not something that can no longer be disputed. You have a lot of people that say, we're using this, even doctors fight with other doctors that are now in that awareness and own it, because they're part of that the few in the medical community that say we need to move away from not acknowledging that this is a problem, that our childhood and that toxic stress that we endure as children manifests itself, in chronic illnesses. They rather do what they know to do, right? Write you a prescription. Here's a pill.
Yeah.
Here's that Prozac that's gonna help you for 6 hours. What happens after 6 hours? What do you do with that?
Yeah.
So you're gonna pop another pill?
Yeah.
And then what? Pop another 2 because the one now your body is used to? It's like crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel that it's so true, especially with autoimmune conditions, because an autoimmune condition is a condition where the body's attacking itself. So if you have some sort of trauma in your past, and it could have been anything, Amy, it's okay to cry.
You know what? The
If
crying,
you're
the
getting in
purge
touch
is important.
with your feelings.
Absolutely.
And also, folks, I want to let you know, Sonia's organization is called SurvivorIM.org. You can reach her here on Facebook. You could also reach her on Instagram. And I'm also working with with an organization by the name of Life on Life Terms, and we touch upon a lot of topics like this. We do a monthly show. We're also on YouTube, lifeonlifeterms.com. We're also on here, where you can reach out. We do a call twice a month. The next call is going to be July 2nd. I'm going to have Sonia as a guest if you want to hear more about her, and I will post the details below this live. But really, if you resonate with what we're talking about, I highly recommend that you hit up Sonia and also hit up Life on Life Terms and get on our support group call, because there are people that care and that are there to help you to grow and to deal with these things. Anyway, go on, Sonia. I was talking about how that deals with autoimmune conditions, because with me, I felt that, and I remember the pattern I had, and it all came from certain childhood traumas that I had, and that's when I knew, okay, I did the nutrition part, I did the physical part, but now I got to dig in deeper to that deep dark rabbit hole and do that work. And it wasn't easy. I didn't want to go to that dark area because it hurt. Because I was bringing up, rehashing these things that I wanted to forget. But if we don't deal with that, I believe that my illness would have come back. And of all things that lupus could have attacked, because lupus can attack numerous amounts of organs in your body, it attacked my heart. And I always said I grew up with a broken heart. And of all things lupus could have attacked, it attacked my heart. So I totally resonate with what you're saying, and I want to hear more on what you think about that.
Well, I think that, one of the most important things, recently I took this arboricultural class, and we were dealing with trees, and we were like pruning trees, and there were so many dead branches on the tree, and we had to make sure that we cut them so that so that we could save the life of the tree. But everything that kept resonating, was the roots. Make sure you take care of the roots. If you don't take care of the roots are gonna rot.
Absolutely.
And I think that anything living, if you don't take care of the roots and you don't nurture the roots, it's just gonna sit there and rot. And unfortunately, as children, another recent thing that I've heard from someone who I actually, trust, respect, admire, children should be seen, not heard. And that's like the worst thing that we could say, right? Children should, there's so much that we could learn from children, because children are a reflection of who we are, the adults that we are in their lives. So even when I look at my son, and when my son is, becoming like angry, where's that fuse coming from? He learned that fuse from somewhere, right? And sometimes it's even from going to school and dealing with his own issues of being bullied at school, and those kids bringing it from home as well. So we need to realize that we are the ones that nurture the fruits of our labor are our children, our future society. And if you look at society today, again, we're all just hurt children, and I think it's not about, let's address this and let's just stay there. Let's just stay bitter and angry about what we've dug up. But let's do the digging, and let's, again, address the roots and take care of it from that point on and nurture it appropriately, because you can reinvent your life. And the brain is malleable. We now know that. I'm sorry, my dog.
Your dog is agreeing with you.
Yeah, he's agreeing. He's like, talk about that. What's crazy is that, really quickly, my dog, when he was 4 months old, he got tetanus, and he was stripped away from us and taken over by the ASPCA that saved his life for 17 days. And he came back not the same. And we had to literally work with him because, he was stripped away from his parents, from his natural, and they're also stripped away from their mama, his puppies, but it just goes to show you, speak life upon everyone that you can, and speak truth. Own your truth. It's okay to own your truth and to be vulnerable, because when you own that vulnerability and you speak it, you birth it from here where you've been holding it, and it no longer has that hold over you. It's when we continue to compartmentalize and we don't deal with that which is inside, that it just keeps creeping in a bad way. And when I stopped drinking, that was the hardest thing for me. The moment that I felt stress, the first thing I wanted to do was, well, what's wrong with just one? What's wrong? You give yourself an excuse. And actually, when you are in bad behavior, whatever your bad addictive behavior, that you've conformed to, that's the excuse you give yourself. It's almost like that diet that you want to start, because you know that what you feed your spirit internally, and this as somebody that treats people, as far as what they eat, you are what you eat. That's not just a saying, so you are what you eat, you are what you feed your mind, your body, your spirit. And we need to pay attention to those things. And sugar is the devil, straight up.
Oh yeah.
How they say the devil manifests himself not only in forms of people, but also in forms of nutrition. You have to pay attention to your nutrition. And here's the thing. Are you kidding me? Yes it is. Aw, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that, Sandra.
Folks,
really
thank
do.
you all for being on. Like I said, I wanted to do this quick live chat and talking about childhood traumas, because I feel it's a very important thing to acknowledge and to realize that we have to do the inner work. It's something that I always speak about when I work with my clients. And I had the honor to meet Sonia a few years ago through Facebook, and I love the work that she does. Plus, she walked her talk like I did. She did the work. She continues to work on herself like I do.
Every day.
I love her organization, Survivor I Am. Like I said, hit her up. She does monthly events. Tell us about your monthly events before we get off.
Yeah. So I do a monthly event. It's just here locally in the Bronx, 10461. I will gladly, you give me your address, and I in turn will tell you the fastest route to get to me. It's once a month. It's from 1 to 6, and we really do just have a fun. Thank you. I'm humbled by that, because you know what? I think there's plenty of times when we feel, and Yvette and I discussed that before even getting on together today, is that we do what we do and we thank one another, right? And we could go, oh, thank you, no, thank you, and we could do that as human beings over and over. But the truth is that we feel like what we do is not enough, because there's so much work that has to be done, that I implore and I encourage everyone, get on board. If you're not that person that's brave enough to speak the talk, stand at the side of someone that's brave enough to do it, because I guarantee you that it took them so much. I don't know that I could do this. I don't know. Am I worthy to do this? I don't know. I'm still healing. Who am I to speak to anyone about anything if I'm still in the trenches? But it's because you're in the trenches that gives you the right to speak the speak. because you are that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not separated from anyone that's on here.
Yep.
I'm no better. I am no greater than you, and you are no greater than I. We are all just on a journey trying to arrive at that sanity that humanity needs to get to. And the only way that we get there is through connectivity and connection to self and to everyone else. I can't do it alone. I just can't. I cringe at the thought of doing it alone. And you know what? The crazy thing is that you have to be an introvert, right? You have to study, you have to do the work, you have to be alone, and you have to go to that dark place. But then you have to come out of it and be like, hey, survivor I am, and so are you.
Yep.
You know, so these monthly events are more about gathering the family together and kind of like lay down the technology so that we could get together and just enjoy, you know, family fun, karaoke, face painting, potato sack racing. Yesterday we made, you know, name bracelets with the kids, and you know, I had this lovely young lady, Karina Abar, who I'll share her link. She's like you. She's a life coach. She's a psychotherapist. And I encourage everyone. I'm literally in the process of seeking a therapist. As I told you, I've never gone to therapy. I went to therapy actually twice. And the therapist that I found after the second time told me that I was good. He told me that I was good. And I'm thinking to myself, I think he misunderstood everything I said, because I don't think any of us are good. I think that we need one another. We need connection to one another, and we need to vent. We need that. You know. So yeah, if anyone is wants to volunteer, I do have a website, survivoriam.org. I am the one basically running it right now. However, I did get a small yet big enough donation that's going to be able to allow me to hire people to have it flourish and blossom and provide more resources. Good. Because once a month is not enough.
Yeah.
You know, the daily work, you know, there has to be something in between the once a month. What is there? What do we do? Where are you?
Yeah.
And what can we do?
Yeah.
So I want to provide the resources like you, your links, like Karina, her links, my friend Andrea Lynn, who wrote a book that's so affordable on Amazon. I'll share the link, $7.99, so that you could elevate that state of mind. And that's what it takes. And it takes every single one of us on that journey, owning our truth and speaking it and saying, you know what, today I had a bad day. And that's okay, because you're going to have them until the day that you die. You know, when people see me and they go, I want some of what you got. And I'm like, I want some of what you got.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you get it? And guess what? We get it together. We don't arrive there alone. That's the most important thing, is that any type of growth that you do, you know, like when people say, you know, I did it all alone. Yeah, okay. You keep thinking you did it alone.
Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, of course, there's an introspective part where you have to do a lot of that work for yourself.
Yeah.
But eventually, it's that rebirth and connection to everyone else that's going to hone it back to self, saying, all right, this is pretty good. This is pretty groovy and amazing.
There's strength in numbers. And you network and create like-minded individuals, you all elevate at the same time. And that's what I do with my clients. That's what I do with the programs that I offer people. I try to help them to heal not only their body, mind, and spirit, but also realize the emotional connection to the body, and how digging deep is very important, because I had to do that work. And believe me, Sonia, you know, it's an ugly place to go to that most people do not want to go to. But I had to do that work to get where I am today. If not, I wouldn't be able to walk my talk. I wouldn't be able to do the work that I do. And this is why I do these lives. I haven't been able to get on for a while because I've been busy doing other projects. But the projects I'm working on are for the people, to help them. But it's a passion that I have, because, like I said, I walk my talk like you do. And it's something that I want to pour into other people so they can realize that there is hope, that you can do the work. You can go out there and create a better version of yourself. Not that there's anything wrong with who you are now, but we can always better ourselves and become better human beings and create a better world. Not that I'm trying to be a Gandhi or anything like that, but you know what I'm talking about.
Not at all.
You know?
And you know what's the crazy thing? What's the crazy thing is that if you really look at it, like we just all have something so beautiful and so powerful within ourselves, within our own story, because our story resonates sometimes quite parallel to someone else, right? It's like you hear someone speak and you're like, oh my God, that happened to me too. And sometimes we knock our own trauma because we go, wow, really? Like, I can't get over this. And again, it's not about getting over it. It's about moving through it. It's about owning that, owning that which you've been through, and knowing and realizing that that's always going to be a part of you. But how do you move through it, right? But one of the things that I notice with people, and with all of us in general, is that we'll downplay our trauma because someone else has been through something that we find is much more severe. But trauma is trauma. It doesn't, especially, you're a child. So here's the thing, children just need love. That's all they want. All children want is love. And you know what? If a baby is neglected, from the very onset, it cannot survive. It cannot sustain life. You have to feed a baby. If you don't feed the baby, if you don't change the baby, if you don't give it that nutrition, that love, that care, what's gonna happen? Again, like that tree that's not nurtured, it's gonna rot. Exactly. So one of the things that's hard is that we can only be as good as what we've received sometimes, because we just don't know better. So if you don't know better, how do you get to that better, best version of yourself if you've never yet even experienced it? And that's the reason why I tell people, be brave in your walk. And whatever it is that you've conquered, so to speak, that you don't even think is a conquering. You here today? You survived the last 24? Guess what? Hello, survivor you are. It's just that simple, however simple that message may be, the rest of it is complicated. And that's why there's people like you, there's people like me, and there's people that are joining us that believe in what we speak, because they know that this is important. And if we are to make a grand impact on changing society, then we need to reboot. Okay? And uproot to reboot.
Level up. And
Exactly.
we have to definitely do the work. And we have to be honest about who we really are, because some people, they let ego get in the way. They want to be like, oh no, that's not how I really am. But it is who you are. You're just afraid to admit it. And it's okay to be vulnerable and to admit, I'm not perfect. I have my things about me that I need to heal. Because I think that's healing. Being honest and looking into that accountability mirror, looking at that mirror and saying, you know what? I need to do the work, and I need to either work on myself or find someone who can help me if I can't do it myself. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's more than one thing that I realized that, my husband said to me today, prayer is fantastic. Prayer, meditation, all of that stuff is fantastic. However, it's not the only thing that needs to be done. We need to put that prayer and that meditation, and we need to act upon it. And that's the hard part.
Yep. You have to. And that's a lot of stuff I say to my clients, as well as some of my friends. It's great to meditate and pray, but if you don't take action, massive action, how do you expect to figure it out and work on things?
I think what prayer and meditation does is it puts you open. To now walking in it.
It
right?
gives you the strength.
Because it takes you exactly. So it's very necessary.
The faith that, yes, I can do this.
Exactly. It lays out a foundation, that's proper, basically, right?
Yeah.
Because all the other foundations are maladaptive coping ways. Yeah. And that's what we see. For most people, myself included, it's just easier to stay there. It's easier to stay there. Because the other stuff is harder.
I couldn't stay there because if I did, I would be
your life depended on it. You would be dead. So would I.
So I had to do the work. I had to dig in deep and do the work. I had to become accountable. I had to look into that mirror and say, yeah, you're fucked up. you need to do this work. You need to dig deeper. Okay, you got the physical part going, but now you got to dig in deeper
Now
into that
what?
work.
Now
You're
what?
going to get sick again, because I felt myself starting to get sick again, and I did get sick again. And once I did the deeper work, I got better. You know?
And you know what it is too, is that so the anger, so all of that anger, what ends up happening is all that compartmentalized trauma that we haven't really addressed, and that we're dealing maladaptively, and whatever cope that we're taking on, that we swear gives us this temporary hope, which does nothing for us. It dysregulates your stress response system, and then your cortisol levels are like.
Yes.
So whatever disease, because we all have disease within us, you're just feeding it.
Yeah. Cancer.
So for
Example
myself,
of that.
I mean, I have arthritis, and I have no doubt that my arthritis throughout my whole body is a result of the inflammation. But why did I have the inflammation? Because I'm drinking, which is a diuretic, right? And even too much coffee is a diuretic. So you're stripping the natural lubrication of your bones, right? And you're so that, and then your mindset, and the whole pity party and the self-loathing, and I get that.
And again, back to autoimmune conditions, because arthritis is a autoimmune condition.
Journaling is
And
great.
an autoimmune condition is where the body attacks itself. So somewhere, somehow, you were attacking yourself mentally in some sort of way, or you were doing things where you were attacking yourself physically, like the drinking. That's attack on self, because you're not hurting anybody. I do that. You're hurting yourself. You're not giving yourself that self-love you need to heal on a deeper level.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry. I'm replying to, I believe it was Sandra that she said, journaling. And
Yeah.
I think that
Do that
journaling
too.
it's powerful, because you have to have a release. You cannot stay stewing in it.
Yeah.
You have to release it. So grab that. And here's the thing, and here's the and it's what's sad, is that we don't like to allow our vulnerability to be spoken. Like, sometimes I think, hi, I want to call my mother, and I want to tell her how I'm feeling, but I can't. Honestly, I can't call my mother, because then my mother will be stressed out. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's hard, because you gotta, and that's where therapy comes in, because they're that person that has no tie to you, but they are actually, and therapists have therapists, so they do have therapists, and most of the therapists are in that line of work because they realize that it's a necessary component to healing our past traumas.
Yes. But a lot of people, on the flip side, especially are afraid to go to therapy, or afraid to admit that this is going to help me, because it's seen as shameful. Oh, we're being shunned. Me, look, I did therapy in the past. I did anger issues, traumas, and I'm grateful that I did the work, because it helped me in my healing journey. And I'm not afraid to tell anybody that I did that. And at one point, I suffered from tremendous anger issues, and that was part of what contributed to my illness. And when I healed those anger issues, and I went to a deeper level to heal myself and those childhood traumas that I had, it helped me to heal physically and mentally. And let me tell you, I work on myself on a daily basis. I read books, I do seminars, I do everything just to become a better version. I'm around like-minded individuals like yourself, and create a community of that, because that's what's going to help you. That's what's going to keep you in that place you need to be to move forward and to heal, and continue to heal your body, and continue to be a better version of yourself. Don't ever be ashamed that you're reaching out to someone to get help, because that's total bullshit. That's what society puts in our head.
They do. But we're okay with, let's just go out for drinks. Let's just go out for drinks, or let's just, this is so good. I'm feeling not a thing right now. But then when that wears off, you still got to deal with you. It's like, and I definitely will say that I was one of those people that was like, I don't want to go to, even just a year ago, I don't want to go to therapy, because, and I think it was more about like, wow, you know, I've heard stories where people are going to therapy for like 10 years, and I'm thinking to myself, well, how's that working out for you? Because you still seem a little angry. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I say,
Yeah.
I think I'm looking. You know, I think look, I think with anything, right?
Uh-huh.
You're gonna have great examples of how it works, and you're gonna have great examples of how it also doesn't work. Because the truth is that some things work for some people, and some things don't work for other people.
Yeah.
What works for one is, you know, in other words, there's no one solution
Yes.
to everything.
What
It's
works for
the
you?
same way. Yeah, it's the same way that I could be, and I have been in past, somebody that would look at what Yvette is doing, and instead of truly being happy for her journey, as I should be, I would be like, damn, man, I wish I could do that, or I could do that, or I could do it better, or I could do this, or I could do that. You compare yourself to other people when the truth is there's so much need in the world, and everyone is going to be, again, not receiving Yvette in the same way that receives Sonia, that receives Axel, who's on
Yeah.
here, that receives Sandra, who's on here, or anyone that comes to view this. Your voice speaks to whoever it is that your voice resonates with.
Absolutely.
So speak it, because there's a need for it to be heard. Yeah, you know, and I can't. And, you know, I just got to a point in my life where I'm like, I can't do this alone. And even on my Instagram and on my Facebook, and, you know, I was exhausted yesterday. I have one dedicated volunteer. I have another volunteer that, you know, she works. She would love to be there, but, you know, everybody has jobs. You know,
I
I'm
want to
applying
be
for.
there. I will try to be there
Exactly, exactly.
eventually.
You know, so sometimes people want to help, but for whatever reason they can't. I'm gonna reach out to like young interns, because I am a 501c3, you know, but you know, sometimes in the beginning the journey feels lonely.
Yeah.
But you're not alone in that. Your outreach is reaching that who needs to hear it. And you have to believe that, because, you know, I think everyone's journey first, it is, believe it or not, a little selfless, because you're doing the work for yourself.
Yeah.
But eventually, it is literally paving the way for everyone else that's going to receive it.
Yes.
So selfless to be, or rather selfish. I said it, I reversed it. I'm sorry about that. Sometimes we feel like we're being selfish. The journey is selfish because you're working on yourself. But that selfish journey, believe it or not, has a selfless execution.
Yes.
In that, if you're brave enough to finally give it, believe that that gift is going to uplift someone else.
Absolutely.
So it's going to have such a powerful impact beyond just helping you.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that connectivity is something that comes from vulnerability. They're two words that partner up, and so, you know, you can say vulnerability equals connectivity, or connectivity equals vulnerability, because likewise, when you share that vulnerable part of you, you will find that you connect with everyone else on the damn planet.
Yep.
I don't care if you're from Zimbabwe.
Yep.
You know, everybody.
We all human. Something there,
You know,
resonates.
absolutely. You know what it is? We're all survivors of our own childhood. So whatever that is, you know, my parents, your parents, their parents, from the beginning of time, we are all survivors of our own childhood. And I think from that perspective, as we were once children, with my posts, my words. Yeah, exactly.
Wonderful.
This Axel is a poet, and he knows, man, art. Every single artist is healing. Every single artist.
Yes, absolutely.
Even the actors.
Oh, we got stuck, Sonia.
I just got.
Okay, so you came back.
I just, you know.
Anyway, let's wrap this up, because we've been on for a while, and I know you have stuff to do, and I'm working on my new lupus group program, which I will be releasing in the fall, and I'll give you guys more details about that. And if you signed up for my newsletter, you'll get more information in that. If not, I will be posting it, but I will be doing more lives with individuals like Sonia, And again, I'll post her information below, and I'll post information for Life on Life Terms. Again, like I said, Sonia is from survivorim.org. And I'll post her link for you guys. And I'll post a link for Life on Life Terms. Like I said, we have a monthly call where you can call in twice a month, and you can speak to people who are there to support you on your journey and to help you with different things. Basically, that's it. Sonia, you still on? I lost Sonia. Let me see if I can get her back on. I can't get her back on, unfortunately. I can't. The connection is bad. But anyway, folks, thank you for being on again. I hope what we spoke about today resonated with you. I hope you got something from it. And if you did, please share this video with others. Sharing is caring. And my name is Yvette LeBoy, Lupus Wellness Coach, and I have a page, Lupus Wellness Coach. Sonia's page is Survivor I Am, and you can also hit me up on Facebook. On YouTube, which is Yvette LeBoy, Lupus Wellness Coach. And Sonia just texted that her phone died. So anyway, like I said, on our next call on Life Terms, we will be speaking with Sonia, and that's going to be on July 2nd. And I'll post the details there below as well as the details for Sonia. Thank you for being on, folks. Like I said, I hope you got something from this, and I will try to continue my live chats like I was doing before, because I know you folks get a lot out of it. I got a lot of you who reached out, and I figured let me start doing them again. Anyway, have a great Sunday. Mwah. God bless, and see you soon. Bye. And thank you, Sonia, for being on. I greatly appreciate it. You shared a wealth of information. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with others. Bye, folks.